Hey everyone, how you doing today? It's me, David, coming to you from my whiskey den here in Central Ohio. Hope you're having a good day. Feeling a little disheveled right now. Literally, very recently, within the last hour or so of recording this, my wife and I just got back from a trip to Kentucky for a few days. We met up with our friends, Jason and Kathy from Nampa, Idaho, and it was their first time in Kentucky. And Jason's a bourbon guy, and uh, it was very really interesting reliving my first trip to Kentucky through his eyes. But in this video, I just want to talk a little bit about the distilleries that we visited on this trip, and which ones I would suggest that if you're going to Kentucky, maybe you would enjoy going to. So I'm going to run through the list. The first day we were down there, in Louisville, we hit Old Forester, Michter's, Peerless, Jim Beam, Heaven Hill, Willett, and Maker's Mark. On the second day, we hit 4 distilleries by my count. Oh, no, actually, we hit 5, but one was closed by the time we got there. So we hit Buffalo Trace, Castle and Key, Glens Creek, which is right next to Castle and Key. Well, about a half mile down the road further. Wild Turkey and Four Roses. So I'm going to focus in on maybe 2 or 3 of these distilleries. We'll see how we get through. As with all my videos, I haven't scripted this. I just got ideas and thoughts in my head. I'm just going to let you know whatever's in my head is going to come out through the mouth. So there we go. Going through this list, for me, that first day, Old Forester and Michter's weren't very exciting to go to. Basically, they're in the old part of Louisville on Whiskey Row. And I like to go to a distillery gift shop where maybe they'll have a distillery exclusive available, something special you can't just get out on the street in your local liquor store. Old Forester had everything kind of what I've seen, but I did pick up. Where did I put it? Oh, it's over there. It was a 1 liter bottle of their rye whiskey, which I've never seen before. It's around $32. I wasn't even going to get it, but my wife said, hey, just, pick it up. So I did that to make her happy. It wasn't really thrilled. Otherwise, everything that was there, I could find here in Ohio in my local liquor store. And then we went to Michter's. It was kind of the same thing. They did have a 10-year rye exclusive at the distillery that day. It was a 2-pack with their regular rye whiskey, which I would, for $281, I wasn't, and my friend and Jason wasn't going to get either. Jason and I think ended up buying the rye at Old Forester. Peerless, though, was another story altogether. Get into that a little bit right now. Jason bought, at each distillery, he bought a Glencairn glass where they had it available. So he bought that, and then for an extra $12, was able to get a tasting of 2 of the Peerless offerings. And I think it was, you buy the Glencairn, and for the extra $12, you have the opportunity. He said, hey, what about my friend David? So I paid $12. I'm so glad I did. I think I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but Peerless, the whiskey was outstanding. I'm going to elaborate on that in its own video. Next, after Peerless, went to Jim Beam. It was closed. So apparently Jim Beam is closed Mondays and Tuesdays. Okay. So that was disappointing. But I'm not really into Jim Beam offerings, so that was fine. Next two we went to was Heaven Hill and Willet because they're really close to each other. Again at Heaven Hill, the only thing we saw that we've never seen before is Five Brothers Bourbon, but it was like $80, 70 or $80. Weren't up for it. I enjoy Heaven Hill, but everything else was Elijah Craig Small Batch, Larceny Small Batch, J.W. Dant, which you can find in Kentucky, and a few others. Problem is that, and I'll say this now, at these distilleries, the price of their bourbon or their whiskey selections, buying it at the distillery, costs more than if you were to go to a liquor store in Kentucky and buy it. So, for example, they had Heaven Hill 7-year bottled and bond, and I think they were offering that for $70 or so, but at the liquor store, or $60, but at the liquor store you can get it for $50. So that's my first hint or tip. If you're going to go to Kentucky to buy bourbon, buy it at a store. You can go, they got Liquor Barn, they got Total Wine, but if you hit the Kroger supermarket stores, they have liquor departments in there, and you might catch something that you're looking for on sale. So there you go. Willet was kind of the same. They didn't have any exclusives that you can't just. But the distillery was beautiful at Willet, and apparently you could do tours, you could do tastings, you can do lunch. They have an excellent restaurant, but I've never done that. And then Maker's Mark was the final one for that first day. We got to. I put it over there. You can dip a bottle in the red wax, and let me grab the bottle. So they had selections. I wanted to do a regular 90 proof Maker's Mark. They had a 375 milliliter bottle, and they had the 1 liter, not the 750. And you can dip your bottle, and I might do another video of me actually doing the dipping. I'm not sure, but if you're looking to go to do a slam dunk, you will be sorely disappointed because the wax pot, you can only dip to about there. So you can't go in further. So next time I do it, I might have to just kind of really, get in there and use a smaller bottle. So that was that first day. I would recommend, out of that first day, going to Peerless and going to Maker's Mark because it was fun, just a fun experience, and I would go back to those over and above the other distilleries. Second day, Buffalo Trace, Castle and Key, Glens Creek, Wild Turkey, and Four Roses. And I will let you know now, I would go back definitely. We did the tour at Buffalo Trace. Free tour. So you tour the facility. After the tour, we got a tasting of 5 of their items. So we had, going from my right to left, they have their own root beer. So we had their root beer. We had the Buffalo Trace Bourbon Cream, which was really good. Then Eagle Rare, Weller Special Reserve, and the Buffalo Trace Flagship. I'm going to cover that in another video. But that was really fun, informative, and I would do that again just to do it again. Castle and Key, I would go back to just to check it out. Unfortunately, the Castle and Key offerings I've tried were decent. I haven't done anything for you on the channel, but I did do some sampling. They were decent. They were okay. But I would definitely go back just to check it out. I think the tastings, I did 3 selections. I think it was $12. That way you're trying before you're buying. And it's just a beautiful facility. It's in the old Taylor distillery. Then about a half mile down the road past Castle and Key is the Glens Creek Distillery. That is a micro distillery. It's in the old Crow Distillery, and I got last time I was there. I got their OCD number 5, which I have not opened yet, but I tried it at the distillery. Free tastings, free samplings at that distillery. I got their wheated bourbon called Sweet at this one, and also so at Castle and Key and Peerless, I got not Castle and Key, Glens Creek and Peerless. I got signed bottles, and I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit more in other videos. Next, we went to Wild Turkey, and this was great. I'm going to do a video on this, its own video, but got a signed bottle. We met Jimmy Russell, which was a treat because I went to visit Jason and Kathy last year. We did our road trip to California, but we stopped in Idaho. I was trying to get a signed bottle for Jason to give to him last year on our trip. Didn't get to do it, and it was so nice to be able to actually go there with him. And we walked in the door in their temporary gift shop, and sitting right in front of us was Jimmy Russell sitting in his chair. He had his little bowl of popcorn and nuts, his little snack, and a tumbler with ice in it with some Wild Turkey bourbon. I'm going to talk more about that in its own video, but that was an excellent experience. Then the final distillery we went to was Four Roses, but they were closed by the time we got there. Everyone closed at 5. They closed at 4, so which was okay. I'm not a huge Four Roses fan from what I've had of there. So on that second day, I would recommend going to all 4 of those distilleries that we hit. Do the tour at Buffalo Trace. Go to Castle and Key just to check it out. While you're there, go to Glens Creek micro distillery. They also have a version of the original Old Crow bourbon that they were doing. I guess they got the recipe, or they replicated that old Crow bourbon. And to tell you the truth, it is nothing like this. Is swell. This is 3-year-old Jim Beam under the Old Crow name. That other stuff, next time I go, I'm going to get a bottle of that, and we're going to sample that together. So good. Exquisite. The thing with these micro distilleries, we're talking like $65, $75 a bottle. I surpassed my budget on this trip. So, and then of course, go to Wild Turkey. Even if you don't meet Jimmy Russell, go to Wild Turkey. So there you go. Those are the distilleries I would recommend going to: Peerless, Makers, Buffalo Trace, Castle and Key, Glens Creek, and Wild Turkey. We had a great time, and would like you to be able to experience those distilleries yourself. Have you visited any of these distilleries? Are there distilleries in Kentucky that I didn't mention that you would recommend going to? Let me know in the comments. So until next time, it's me, David, coming to you from my whiskey den here in Central Ohio. I hope your next pour is your best pour. We'll catch you soon, and thank you for watching. Hey everyone, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe so you can be notified of future videos as they drop. Thanks for watching.